the essence of individuality, creativity, and positivity, where we explore the latest trends and engage in lively discussions. Expect a mix of insight, humor, and mental health, social justice, and relevance that promises an enlightening and enjoyable listening experience, ensuring you don't miss out on this captivating adventure on Next Gen.
What could you say? Where could you go? If time stops, you are standing alone. There'll be a light of space you never seen before. I'm trying to tell you what you already know. Have you ever been this bad and pray as you cry? When did you apologize or ask him to go? Now you're standing in this place, it's time to show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is your host Ria Mahomed on Next Gen, right here at Radio Al Ansar. From exploring current trends to delving into pressing issues like social justice and mental health, this show fearlessly tackles the pivotal subjects that resonate deeply within our generation. My mission is to embody authenticity, relatability, and humor, ensuring that even the most challenging discussions become accessible and engaging, creating a space where listeners can feel understood and entertained simultaneously. Now, today's topic of discussion is about philosophy and self. So we will be discussing these 4 questions. Number 1 is, does pain make us more human or more guarded? The second one is self-love a trend or a radical act of rebellion? The third is, do we discover purpose or do we create it? And the fourth is, can someone truly know themselves without isolation? Now, these are really heavyweight questions. And one that sits at the crossroads of psychology, philosophy, and the human spirit. So let's unpack it deeply, layer by layer, and let's talk about this. Does pain make us more human or more guarded? Now, pain, in all forms, emotional, physical, spiritual, is one of the most universal human experiences, right? It transcends culture, class, gender, and age. But it shapes us in a way where complexity lies. So let's explore both sides of the coin. Now, how does pain make us more human? We can look at empathy and connection. When you've experienced pain, your capacity to empathize grows. You feel what others are going through on a visceral level. That creates a deeper bond between people. It's why some of the kindest souls are the ones who've suffered the most. So pain humbles us. It strips away the ego and pride and forces us to see other not through titles or status, but through shared vulnerability. So then is self-awareness and depth. Now, pain forces introspection. It pushes you inward, asking questions like, who am I? What do I value? Why did this hurt so much? That journey through discomfort can lead to spiritual growth, awakening, maturity, and even a sense of purpose. So think of how many artists, poets, or activists transform their pain into something powerful and beautiful. They didn't just survive pain, they translated it. Then we're going to look at authenticity. Now, you can't fake your way through pain. It demands you to show up raw, right? That honesty, that stripped back version of yourself is often where your truest self loves and lives. Now, in that way, pain peels away the masks that we wear, making us more authentically human. So now here's how pain makes us more guarded. So, number 1 is emotional armor. On the flip side, pain also teaches us to protect ourselves. It tells you, don't go there again, and don't choose too easily, don't feel it too deeply. And so we build walls. We become careful with our hearts, cautious with our words, and suspicious of good things because that experience taught us that good things can hurt. The number 2 is avoidance and numbness. Guardedness often leads to detachment. Some people don't process pain, they bury it. They become emotionally unavailable, numb, or indifferent. It's not because they don't feel, but it's because they felt too much. They fear that feeling again could break them, so they shut everything down just to survive. Then we're going to look at control mechanisms. Now, after pain, especially trauma, some people develop a need for control. They avoid uncertainty, they overthink, overanalyze, and overplan. Because unpredictability once led to hurt, guardedness becomes a defense mechanism, a silent vow, never again. So, which one is it? The truth is, it's both. Pain is a paradox. It has the potential to deepen or harden you, and it can make you feel softer toward others but cold toward yourself. Right? So it can open your heart or shut it down. So the difference often lies in whether you've had a safe space to process your pain, whether you've received compassion or judgment, and whether you've been taught to fix it or feel it. Now, pain doesn't define who you are, it reveals who you can become. Whether it makes you more human or more guarded, it depends on what you do with it and what healing looks like for you. So you can carry pain like a weapon or a lesson. You can let it turn you into stone or into fire, but either way, it will shape you. So let's go into a deeper question, okay? The next question is self-love a trend or radical act of rebellion? I'm going to repeat that. Is self-love a trend or a radical act of rebellion? Now, at first glance, self-love sounds like a soft, gentle thing. Bubble baths, journaling, face masks, affirmations, a trendy aesthetic, something you post about with pastel quotes and hashtags. But when you strip it down to its core, especially in a world that profits off your insecurities, self-love isn't just pretty. It's powerful and it's political. So let's explore both sides, okay? Now, self-love as a trend, okay? So number one is social media and capitalism's influence. Now, self-love became a buzzword, an aesthetic, a hashtag, a marketing tool. So brands now package it into products. Buy this serum, this journal, this retreat. It's self-love. But what they're really selling is self-improvement disguised as self-acceptance. Now, this message becomes, you can love yourself once you fix yourself. So self-love in that form becomes conditional. It's less about accepting who you are now and more about becoming who you should be. Now, number two is the performance aspect. Because it's trendy, people sometimes perform self-love for the feed and not the soul. A curated morning routine, a photo of a book with a latte, a caption about healing. But behind that post could be someone still battling self-hate, shame, or burnout. It becomes image over intention, visibility without vulnerability. Now, the third one is delusion of meaning. Like many buzzwords, self-love can lose its depth with overused without context. It's often simplified to treat yourself culture, without the deeper emotional and psychological work that true self requires. When it becomes a trend, it risks becoming shallow. Now, self-love as a radical rebellion. Now this is where things get real. Number one is loving yourself in a world that teaches you not to. Society, from media to religion to culture, has long profited off self-doubt. You're constantly told you're not enough, not light enough, not dark enough, not smart enough, not light enough, not humble enough, not thin, rich, successful, obedient, quiet, loud, grateful enough. So look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am enough as I am. And that is a defiance. To reclaim your body, your voice, your worth, that's revolutionary. Especially if you're marginalized. Like for Black women, plus-size bodies, people living with a disability or mental illness, self-love is not just a cute phase, it's survival. It's like saying, even if the system does not affirm me, I affirm myself. And that is powerful. That is a protest. So choosing rest, boundaries, and healing, we live in a world that romanticizes burnout and overworking. Now that praises self-sacrifice and people-pleasing. So when you choose to rest without guilt, when you say no without apology, when you prioritize peace over productivity, remember that that is not laziness, that is liberation. Number 4 is healing generational wounds. When you love yourself deeply, you begin to heal not only yourself, but your lineage. You break cycles, you parent your inner child, you unlearn toxic beliefs. And I remember that is not a trend, that's soul work. So, which one is it? It depends how you are approaching it, okay? So, it's surface level and aesthetic driven. And yes, it's a trend. But if it's intentional, rooted in acceptance, boundaries, healing, and radical worthiness, then it's rebellion. And truthfully, sometimes it starts as a trend, but if you stick with it, if you dig deeper, it can become your revolution. So, self love is not just about liking yourself on the good days, it's about holding a space for your whole self. The broken parts, the angry parts, the soft parts, the healing parts. It's about saying, I am mine before I am anyone else's, in a world that benefits from your silence, your shame, and your self doubt. So, loving yourself out aloud is an act of war. Anyway, I will be back right after the ad break while we discover new purposes and questions.
ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذريتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما.
Radio Unsarved.
Sunnah a Day, proudly brought to you by Sunpick, 100% pure sunflower cooking oil. Sunpick, cook more with less.
मेरे नबी प्यारे नबी सुन्नत तेरी दुनिया दी.
Sunnah a day. If food falls onto the floor, it should be picked up, cleaned, and eaten. It should not be left for shaitan.
Sunnah a Day, proudly brought to you by Sunpick, 100% pure sunflower cooking oil. Sunpick, cook more with less.
Imagine this. You're putting together a 7-color meal, from the creamy pasta to the glazed carrots and flavorful onion gravy. This entire meal is made with our 100% pure extra virgin olive oil from our La Familia range, bringing outstanding quality and taste to your kitchen. Shop La Familia 100% pure extra virgin olive oil at any leading supermarkets near you. La Familia, heart of the home.
When you give water, you're reaching out to drought-affected areas, bringing them to life. Fresh water to drink, to clean, and to grow. That's the power of water. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
Audio stream across the world on radioalansar.co.za.
I don't wanna wake up here. Someone help me carry this load. I don't wanna walk with fear no more. I will never leave my prayer. I know that you're always there. For every door that you close, you'll guide me to many more. So many ways you show me your love. I'm thankful for all that you've done. Alhamdulillah, for all that I have, for all that I lose, it still leads to you. For the nights that I'm down, you're all I need now. My face meets the ground. Alhamdulillah, for all that I have, for all that I lose, you still pull me through. For the nights that I'm down, you're all I need now. Alhamdulillah. على كل حال. So many ways you show me your love. I'm thankful for all that you've done. Alhamdulillah, for all that I have, for all that I lose, it's thanks to you. For the nights that I'm down, you're all I need now. Alhamdulillah. For all that I have, for all that I lose, you still pull me through. For the nights that I'm down, you're all I need now. Alhamdulillah. على كل حال الحمد لله for all that I have, for all that I lose, you still pull me through. For the nights that I'm down, you're all I need now. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah for all that I have, for all that I lose, still leads to you. For the nights that I'm down, you're all I need now. Alhamdulillah, yeah. Did you look at the night, see the light of the moon? Did you look at the sun, giving you warmth? Did you look at the sky? Are you falling in love? It is from the Creator. You can't get enough. He is everywhere, and He knows we stay. Yes, He knows. Yes, He knows. He knows. You've got the world in your hands. He's the one who we're thanking for life. He is a Rahman.
Okay, lovely souls, it's Ria Mohammed back on Next Gen. Now, next question that we're going to be discussing, as I did speak about earlier, is do we discover purpose or do we create it? Now, that is a really deep one and such a beautiful question. Now, the tension between discovering purpose and creating it has fascinated philosophers, psychologists, and spiritual thinkers for centuries. So let's unpack both perspectives in detail and then see how they can overlap and what that might mean for someone like you and I. Now, number one is the idea that we discover purpose. This view holds that purpose is something already existing, almost like a treasure we're buried with, waiting to be uncovered. So here's how that plays out, okay? Spiritual or religious lens. Now, many belief systems teach that every human being is born with a God-given purpose. For example, in Christianity, people often speak of a calling. In Islam, there is strong emphasis on serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your unique path. In African spirituality, one's destiny or ori, in Yusiber tradition, is often said to be a pre-chosen before birth. Now, there's the innate talents and passion. Some argue that the things we naturally gravitate toward or the struggles we've survived hold clues to our purpose. So in this frame, you're not just inventing your purpose, you're turning it into what was always inside. Then we can look at signs and synchronicity. Now, some people speak of moments in life, divine nudges, coincidence, or life-altering events that awaken them to their purpose. It's less about building it and more about recognizing what life is guiding you toward. Then the idea that we can create purpose. Now, this flips the coin. It says purpose isn't found, it's made. And here's a breakdown. Then we can look at existentialism. Now, philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre argued that life has no inherent meaning and it's our responsibility to create a purpose through our own choices, actions, and relationships. So you're not just born with a mission, but you are given your life with a meaning through what you do with it. Then we can look at the empowerment lens. Now, in modern context, especially with the rise of self-help and motivational culture, this view is truly empowering. It says that you get to decide what matters. Your pain, your passions, your business, your voice, they become powerful when you assign meaning to them. Then we look at flexibility and freedom. Now, this also allows you to evolve. So your purpose at 21 might not be your purpose at 31. You can reinvent, reimagine, and reconstruct your sense of purpose as you grow and change. So which one is it? Honestly, probably both. For many people, purpose is a dance between discovery and creation. So you might discover a natural gift, say your voice, your storytelling, your writing, your empathy, and then create ways to use it in a meaningful manner in the world. So you might discover that your suffering wasn't random and then create something powerful out of it, like a book, a business, a a message, a movement. So think of it like a seed. Maybe the seed is already there, discovery, but you still have to water it, prune it, and grow into something, which is a creation. So here are some reflection questions that I want you to ask yourself. If you're exploring your own sense of purpose, here are some prompts to journal or mediate on. So the first one I want you to ask yourself is, what have I always been drawn to, even as a child? Okay. Now, I want you to question yourself. Another one is, what injustice or issue moves me deeply? When do I feel most alive, most me? What am I naturally good at that also brings me joy? How could I use my experiences, both joyful and painful, to serve others? Now, this is a really rich, layered question, one of those that sit in intersection of philosophy, psychology, and even spirituality. So let's unpack it. Can someone truly know themselves without isolation? Okay, well, it depends on what you mean by truly know, what we mean by isolation, and how much of the self-discovered verses reflected through the world. So what does it mean to truly know yourself, right? So to truly know yourself could mean understanding your desires, your fear, your patterns and triggers, being aware of your motivations, why you do what you do, recognizing your strengths and your limitations, your values and your voice. So being in touch with your inner world, your soul, your spirit, your essence. So knowing yourself isn't just about identifying the surface level traits like I'm introverted, I'm extroverted, or I like art. It's about understanding your why, what drives you, what grounds you, and grows you. Now here's the role of isolation in self-knowledge. Now let's talk about isolation. Here we're not just talking about loneliness or exile, but rather a deliberate separation from noise, distraction, and external influence. Now this could be physical isolation, like being alone in nature or on a retreat, or just unplugged from the world, even just sitting in your room in a corner or on your bed. Then we can look at mental or emotional solitude, which is turning inward, journaling, meditating, and being still. So now, why is isolation powerful? Let's question that. One, what we can say is silencing the noise. Now, the world is constantly telling you who to be through social media, culture, family, friends, even the algorithm. Now, isolation gives you a space to ask yourself, who am I when no one's watching? Now, meeting the real you. In silence, you confront your thoughts, your shadows, your feelings. And now there's no mask to perform with, no audience to impress. So then we can look at creativity and insight. Some of the deepest insights come when you understand and still and undistracted. Many great thinkers, mystics, and creatives throughout history found their breakdowns in solitude. Think of the monks, prophets, poets, or even modern day thought leaders who take sabbaticals or digital detoxes. Now, number 3 is, but can you know yourself without isolation? So the answer is yes and no. Let's talk about why it's yes. Now, relationships as mirrors. Other people reflect on aspects of ourselves where we might not see alone. You might not know you're impatient until someone tests your patience. You might not realize your strength until someone leans on you. Then we look at life experience reveals you. So you discover who you are in action through love, failure, conflict, achievement, success. We don't exist in a vacuum, so sometimes you only know what matters to you when it's challenged. Then we can look at culture, community, and context. Now, we're not just some individuals. We're shaped by our environment. Some people are only truly connected to their identity by understanding where they come from and how they relate to others. So, what's the balance? Now, to truly know yourself, you probably need both isolation for self-inquiry, to hear your own voice undiluted, connection for reflection, to see who you truly are in the world. And you might begin the journey of solitude, but you test it and refine it in community. So a powerful analogy is the ocean. Isolation helps you dive deep into the silent depths where the truth lies. Relationships in life help you surface to bring that truth into the world. So someone constantly, know themselves without some degree of isolation, but equally, you can't fully know yourself in isolation alone. Now, the self is both discovered inwardly and refined rationally in a world where constantly shifting between connection, chaos, pain, and that often becomes our greatest teacher. It is either softening us into deeper empathy or it hardens us with layers of self-protection. And yet, amidst the pain, the act of choosing self-love stands at a more desire than just a hashtag. It's a radical defiance of a system that profits from our insecurities. So purpose too is not always stumbled upon like a hidden treasure. More often it is shaped by our choices, our trials, and our relentless pursuit of meaning. But in the noise of it all, it is only in stillness, perhaps even isolation, that we come face to face with who we truly are. So maybe becoming human isn't just about having all the answers, but it's about daring, asking questions, and holding a space for becoming. Now, what I'm going to do is I will be back right after the ad break where we are going to talk about society and culture. So I'll see you soon.
Because of you, I feel blessed. Oh Allah, because of you, I feel blessed. Because of you, oh Allah, because of you, I feel blessed.
It is brought to you by Kenfield Auto, your RMI approved service and repair specialist. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport.
Kenfield Auto.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا.
Car won't start?
Kenfield Auto.
Noisy brakes?
Kenfield Auto.
Due for a service?
Kenfield Auto.
Kenfield Auto, the answer to all your car problems. Your service and repair specialist for your VW, Audi, Suzuki, Toyota, or just about any vehicle. Kenfield Auto, your RMI and insurance approved workshop to handle them all. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Call us on 031 207 2399. Kenfield Auto.
With 49 years of experience in the motoring industry, Metro Car Sales has been proudly serving you since 1976. Need a great deal on your next car? We've got you covered. We offer in-house finance arranged in 1 hour. So, what are you waiting for? Call us now on 033 3942 595. Visit us today at number 1 Boshoff Street, Pietermaritzburg. You can also check out our amazing deals online at www.metrocars.co.za. Metro Car Sales, your number 1 dealer in wheels.
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban, 90.4 FM. Pietermaritzburg, 105.6 FM.
Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Was the greatest man that ever lived, yeah. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Was the greatest man that ever lived, yeah. He's the one who taught me life. He taught me everything that I know. I thank Allah for mine to be. Yeah. Everything that I do is from the book of Sunnah that I follow each and every day. Yeah. See my bed, cause my prophet said so. I pray my Sunnah, cause my prophet said so. Love the Ummah, cause my prophet said so. Said so, said so. Thank you Allah for our prophet. His sunnahs are the only riches that we need. This is real success, profit with no interest. In angel we rest. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. What's the greatest man that ever lived, yeah. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. What's the greatest man that ever lived, yeah. You are the one who teach me how to live my life. You show me the path to reach paradise. What would I do without you? You are the only one that give me all that I need. Oh yeah, yeah. You've taught me everything I know. You have shown me the right path. I'll follow you wherever I go. Ain't nobody's gonna make me whole.
Keep my bed, cause my prophet said so. I pray my sunnah, cause my prophet said so. Love the ummah, cause my prophet said so. Said so, said so.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you Allah for our prophet. His sunnahs are the only reaching.
Hi Ken, we are back, wonderful people, on Next Gen, right at Radio Al-Ansar with Ria Mohammed. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about society and culture. I hope to complete these 4 questions that I also wanted to work on. Hopefully we have time, but let's talk about this. Now, the first question is social media shaping our identity or erasing it? The second is, can we truly be free in a world ruled by algorithms? Number 3 is, has hustle culture become the new form of slavery? And number 4, are we more connected or more lonely than ever? Now, let's talk about, is social media shaping our identity or is it erasing it? Now, number 1 is understanding identity in the digital age. While identity is the sum of who we are, our values, beliefs, culture, gender, race, personality, and the lived experiences. So it's both about personal and social, while we define ourselves and that are defined by how others perceive us. Now, social media has introduced a new layer of this, okay? Now, we don't just live our identities, we also curate and perform them online. So platforms like Instagram, TikToks, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook have become stages where people project idealized or filtered versions of themselves. Now, this raises the question, are we shaping a new kind of identity, or are we losing touch with our authentic self? Now, social media is a tool, and as a tool of identity construction. Now, in some ways, social media helps shape identity, particularly among young people or marginalized groups. So we work on self-expression. So social media gives us people the freedom to express ourselves creatively through art, music, fashion, memes, or even activism. So users can see and craft a digital persona that reflects aspects of who they are or who they aspire to be. Then belonging and community. It allows people to find themselves and find others with shared experiences or identities. For example, spaces like mental health communities, groups. Now, these spaces can validate a person's identity and provide emotional support. Then we look at access to diverse narratives. Now, people can learn about different cultures, lifestyles, and beliefs, which can help them expand their own understanding of who they truly are in the broader global context. So in this light, social media doesn't erase identity, it multiplies it. It gives people more tools and references to form a deeper, more layered sense of self. Then we look at pressure to perform and conform. However, there is a darker side. That same platforms that encourage self-expression also insensitive conformity, comparison, and performance. So the algorithmic influence, where social media algorithms push trends, aesthetics, and popular opinions to the top. So appearance or speech in order to be accepted. That is what you need. This can subtly pressure users to adapt this to their behavior. They have to be liked to go viral. So over time, personal identity may be replaced with whatever gains the most attention. Then we look at curated reality because people tend to post only the best parts of their lives. There's a risk of losing authenticity. Many start tailoring their identities to what they think their followers want, often leading to a split between real life, real self, and online self. Now we look at cancel culture and echo chambers. Now, many users may suppress their true opinions or beliefs to avoid backlash or social exclusion. Now, in polarized digital spaces, there's a little room for nuance, which still stifles genuine identity exploration. So, mental health effects, where the constant comparison with others can erode self-worth, feelings of inadequacy or not being enough, attractive enough, successful enough, happy enough, can make people question their own identity or feel the need to reinvent it to a firm mold and a fit mold. So, are we losing identity? Let's question that. Whether or not identity is being erased depends on how people use social media. So, if users rely solely on external validation, likes, followers, shares, they risk becoming a projection rather than a person. So, in that case, identity becomes a costume we wear, not reality where we live. But in social media, if social media is usually used internationally to explore, share, learn, and connect, then it can be a powerful space for identity formation. So we look at a balanced perspective, okay? Ultimately, social media is both a mirror and a mask. It reflects part of us that can also tempt us to hide behind idealized versions. Now, the key lies in digital self-awareness, which is knowing you're expressing your true self when you're editing yourself for approval. So, social media shaping our identity and erasing it. Which one is it? Now, the truth is, it's doing both. It amplifies our voice, expands our sense of self, but it can also flatten individuality into trends and matrix. So, in a world of filters and followers, the real challenge is not losing yourself in the feed, but using it to find yourself more deeply. But can we truly be free in a world of algorithms? That's the next question. Can we truly be free in a world ruled by algorithms? Now, this is one of the most urgent and thought-provoking questions in the digital age. On the surface, algorithms are just mathematical formulas, a set of instructions designed to process data and automate decisions. But when we dig deeper, we begin to realize that they are shaping among every part of our lives, what we see, what we buy, who we meet, and increasingly what we believe. So the question isn't just about technology, it's about freedom, autonomy, and the essence of human choice in the algorithm-driven world. So what do we mean by freedom? Now, before we dive into algorithms, we need to clarify what freedom really means. Philosophically, freedom can be divided into two ideas: freedom from control, the absence of external constraints so no one's forcing you, then freedom to choose, that is the ability to make informed, independent decisions. So in a world where algorithms influence nearly every digital experience, the real concern is whether these systems are limiting or guiding our choices, and whether we are even noticed. Now, the invisible hand of algorithms, let's talk about that. So from the moment you unlock your phone, algorithms are at its play. Social media feeds like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and X, Twitter, show you what they think you want to see based on your previous likes, shares, and time spent watching. Search engines, they prioritize certain websites, controlling the flow of information. Then e-commerce platforms suggest that what you might like to buy next. Then, of course, we're going to look at the illusion of choice. Now, this is where freedom gets complicated, okay? If algorithms are tailoring your world based on the digital footprint, then are you truly choosing what to watch, read, or buy? Or are you selecting from options carefully filtered to maximize engagement and profit for a tech company? So it's a bit like walking to a library that shows you 10 books based on your past reading and never letting you explore the rest. So over time, your worldview narratives, you begin in an echo chamber where your beliefs are reinforced and alternative perspectives disappear. So this manipulation is subtle but powerful, and it feels like freedom even when it's not. So the problem of algorithmic bias is, another danger is, as I said, an algorithmic bias. When AI systems reflect the prejudices of the data they trained on. And this affects everything from job recruitment systems that overlook certain demographics, loan approvals that favor certain zip codes or income brackets, facial recognition that misidentifies people's color. So if these algorithms become gatekeepers of opportunity, then our freedom becomes conditional, shaped by invisible systems that we did not vote for, can't fully see, and rarely understand. So, are we completely powerless? Not necessarily. Regulation is growing. Governments are starting to demand transparency and accountability. So, the EU's Digital Services Act, for example, pushes platforms to explain how algorithms work and why certain content is shown. So text ethics is emerging. So many developers now bring trained in ethical AI, considering fairness, transparency, and under user consent. So users are becoming more aware. Digital literacy is improving because people are questioning the content they consume, challenging what's recommended to them, and taking steps to reclaim control, like using ad blockers or turning off personalized recommendations. So redefining freedom in a digital world. So can we truly be free in a world ruled by algorithms? The answer is a simple yes or no. We are not completely free because our choices are influenced in ways that we don't often understand. But we are not completely controlled either because we still have the power to question, resist, and even shape the system. So true freedom in this context means digital consciousness, being aware of how you are being guided and pushing back where necessary. So algorithms aren't evil, they're tools. But when left unlocked, they can become invisible rulers and societies we live in. So in a world ruled by algorithms, our challenge isn't to destroy them, but demand transparency, embrace awareness, and take agency over our digital lives. So yes, we can be free, but only if we fight for it. Now, let's look at this, okay? Now, are we more connected or more lonely than ever? So are we more connected or more lonely than ever? At the first glance, we live in the most connected era of human history. We can video call someone across the globe in seconds. We can video call someone across the globe. Social media lets us share our lives in hundreds and sometimes thousands of people at once. Apps, texts, online communities, everything is designed to keep us plugged in, available, and close. And yet, more people are saying that they feel alone. Not just alone in a physical sense, but emotionally isolated, so unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. So the question becomes, has our constant digital connection replaced or even weakened or real human bonds? Now let's unpack this in depth. Now the nature of connection has changed. So there's a difference between being connected and being emotionally close. So digital connection is instant, constant, and global, but it's also shallow. So you can message 100 people a day and still feel like no one truly knows you. Then emotional connection, on the other hand, is built through vulnerability, presence, and empathy, a shared experience, things that don't always translate well through the screen. So while we may be more accessible to each other than ever, we're not necessarily more intimate. Now, number 2 is the rise of performative intimacy. Now, social media has created a kind of performative closeness where we share curated versions of our lives for validation rather than real connection. Likes, comments, story views, and replaced long conversations, eye contact, and emotional support. So we post smiles but not struggles, achievements but not breakdowns, highlights but not the in-between. This creates the illusion that everyone else is living a full happy life while you're just silently struggling in your own mind. So that contrast breeds loneliness, shame, and comparison. So let's look at the loneliness epidemic, where studies across the world are confirming and distributing disturbing truths. Loneliness is arising, especially among young people. So consider these stats. A 2023 global health report found that loneliness is now a global public health concern, linked to anxiety, depression, heart disease, and even the early death. In the UK and Japan, ministers of loneliness have become appointed to address the crisis. South Africa, despite the communal culture, is also showing signs of increasing disconnection, especially in urban areas and among the youth affected by unemployment and a digital overload. So loneliness isn't just about being alone, it's about feeling unseen, unneeded, and unloved. And ironically, digital connection sometimes deepens that feeling. So we're losing an art of presence. Human connection requires presence, not just being physically together, but being emotional there. So think about it. How many conversations do we have while distracted by our phones? How often do we listen to reply rather than understand? When was the last time we sat with someone in silence without filling the space with scrolling or selfies? So digital culture has made our attention fragmented. We're always self here and half somewhere else. And that makes real connection difficult. So not all digital connections is bad. So to be fair, technology has created powerful forms of connection, like long-distance relationships can thrive through FaceTime, online communities give marginalized voices a safe space, mental health support is more accessible than ever through apps and online therapy. So people we find rare with illnesses or niche interests can finally find others like them. So it's not about blaming technology, it's about how we use it. Where we use it mindfully, digital tools, and that can enhance our relationships. When used compulsively, they can replace them. So, the real cost of disconnection, where chronic loneliness isn't just a feeling, it affects our health. It increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and dementia. It weakens our immune system. It fuels depression, anxiety, and even substance abuse. It impacts academic performance and productivity. So, loneliness tells the brain that something is wrong, that you're in danger, and when it goes too long, it becomes a silent killer. So you need to reclaim real connection. So how do we reconnect in disconnected world? Be present. When you're with someone, be with them. No phones, no distractions, just presence. Go deep, ask real questions, share your story, be vulnerable. Surface level talk doesn't just feed the soul. So make time. Relationships need nurturing. Scheduled calls, hangouts, walks. Don't leave them to chance. Build a community, whether through a faith group, book club, volunteering, or even sport. Community is a medicine for loneliness. Then you can have a digital detox. So take breaks from the online world. Give your mind a space to breathe and your heart a space to reconnect. So lastly, all am I going to say, we are more connected or more lonely together than ever. Both. We are technological connected, but often emotionally isolated. So the tools we've built brings us together and can also push us apart if we're not intentional. But with awareness, boundaries, and a heart, we can rediscover what it means to truly connect. Not just with others, but ourselves. Real connection isn't about your Wi-Fi signal. It's about your presence, your attention, and your willingness to be real. Anyway, I thank each and every one of you, Jazakallah, for joining me today on Next Gen. I will be back next week, Thursday, from 2 to 3 p.m, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
نستقي بمرادة ولن نكون للعدا كالعبيد